cooler.
Yeah, right. Oh! All right, you hear me okay?
It's hot as a bitch. Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right, let's start this shit on YouTube because these motherfuckers here, I love them to death. All right.
Okay.
All right. I love these people here. They're good, solid people. All right, Butch. Now that I'm almost dry. So, hey, YouTube, how you doing? If you're wondering why my shirt is wet, I'm going to tell you what happened just a couple of seconds ago. So here I am. I get Butch on the line, and I'm like, Butch, hold on a second. I'm just going to run upstairs and grab some iced tea. So I took my glass that had been sitting on my desk that I accidentally left here yesterday. And it's got about a quarter water in it. And what do, old clumsy me? I trip on the stairs and water splashes all on my shirt and all in my face. I don't have time to change it, but I am soaked now. So let us give a shout out to everybody who is here so far before we bring in Mr. Cranky Curmudgeon here. Go 66. Boo. How are you, buddy? Tammy Finnegan, you're looking stunning tonight. Andrew Boyle, thank you for coming on in. Mere person, you know I love you. Space Without Distance, always a pleasure to have you here. Don't forget to bring a towel, my friend. The gorgeous Becky Belling. Let's have a little clap for her tonight. Steam Train Mark, please let me know how tomorrow it looks, and if I am alive, I would appreciate that since you live in the future. Crystal O, good to have you here, Crystal Light. The gorgeous and talented Jessica Lee is here, everybody. Bees Nest Movies, there they are. Give them a round of applause. Ross, good to have you here. All right, moving on here. The gorgeous Renee, thanks for coming on in. Always appreciate you. Little Deborah is here, everyone. Little Deborah is here, and you know we love our little Deborah around here. Mark Daniel, good to see you here. Thank you for coming on in. Mike F., welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Come on in. The water is fine. All right. Who else am I getting here? Nate Rudd. He's got the feet of Sasquatch running through the Washington State mountains. Vintage Skills, good to see you here. Greco, how you doing, buddy? How's the baklava? Brett, good to have you here. Ross Smith, thanks for coming on in. And Lon Strickler is here, everyone. The talented and funny Lon Strickler. This is a man who can tell a joke and make an entire room laugh. Lon Strickler, everybody. All right, Paradoxine, good to have you here. Dirty Filth, you're looking real dirty tonight. Love your cartoon on the weekend at spacedoutradio.com. Cookie, thanks for coming on in. Jen, you look stunning as per usual. Stunning, I tell you. And who else we got here? Spookles the Cat, everybody. Spookles the Cat, who had a birthday last weekend. We love you, dear. You do so much for us on the background, and we couldn't do it without you. You are an amazing part of this team. We love you. Thank you. All right. Kira's here. The gorgeous and talented Kira, back from ECETI Ranch. She's back. All right. I tripped going up the stairs. Up the stairs, everyone. Philip Blair is here. The Philip Blair. Tina, thank you. You're looking talented tonight. Jacobo, good to see you. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Evasius. Human Carl's here. One of our favorite veterans. One of our favorite veterans in the world. Human Carl. Let's give him a round of applause because we love our veterans around here. Fapster, how's Grandma Rose doing? I'm still debating whether or not I should send her my beard. Nathan, good to have you here. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, you ready for some woo? There she is, everyone. The incredibly gorgeous Manitoba Becky. She's here. We can start the show officially. Hector, good to have you back. Thanks for coming in. The Jim Christie. Jurassic Joey, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. My God, there are so many people in here. Mark Daniel, already with the super chat, along with Grendel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're a minute and a half away. Butch, I'm apologizing to you because you haven't had a chance to say hello yet.
Hello.
Well, that's good enough. Appreciate that. Holy shit, this is just a jammed house here already. You know what the painful part for me is, Butch? They're not here for me. They're here for you.
No, that's nice.
Yeah, that's how they roll around here. That's how they roll. It's never about me. It's always about how good you look, Butch. You know, in your platform shoes when you're running through the forest. Oh, yeah, we know how it works. Academic Ant, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Thank you for coming on in. Donnie, good to have you back. I appreciate that. Mr. Man, Mr. The Triple M. The Michael Leger is here, everyone. The Michael Leger. Yeah. Todd Schultz, good to have you here. Appreciate that. We're about 45 seconds away. I'm pumped up. I hope you are too. Oh my God, I'm getting an echo in here. I took out a desk and now I'm getting an echo in here. Oh, that's a studio issue. We're going to have to figure something out here. Where the hell is my mouse? What the heck is it doing over there? Bill WD-40, he'll lube you up anywhere. He's here. We appreciate Bill WD-40. Prairie Fire, good to have you here. All right. 20 seconds, everyone. Thank you to Mark and Grendel for the super chats right off the bat. I really do appreciate that. Hey, Worsley, thank you for coming on in. I love you all, and we're going to have a nice, strong week this week as we got a lot of woo planned, and it all starts tonight with Butch Witkowski, the man, the myth, and the legend all wrapped into one. Yes, he is like a kielbasa of knowledge. I don't know where that came from, Butch. Music is on. Bobby of Joy. Hello. Welcome to our chat room. Thank you so much for joining us. And here we go, everyone. Let's have one hell of a show. Let's do this thing right now. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show as we are broadcasting live across North America on our terrestrial stations and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Now, if you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reaching out and hanging out on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The man, the myth, and the legend chaser, Butch Witkowski, returns tonight to discuss his latest findings on Strange Days. Butch is the founder and lead investigator of UFO Cop. Throw a .com on the back of that, you have the website, an investigative team tracking legends, folklore, and live reports on creatures that realistically should not exist. Now, old Butch here is supposed to be enjoying retirement, but you can't keep a good man down, so here he is, wearing his bell-bottoms, platform shoes, to try and find the age-old questions. Are there monsters around us? Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
I'm fine. Always a pleasure to be on.
Well,
and who told you about the platform shoes?
Your wife. Your wife.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah. You can blame her. Butch, I'm not gonna lie here. I'm coming in to this week very, very upset. Very upset. I spent for the last 3.5 weeks, we have had torrential downpours at least once a day. Okay, they last for 10, 15 minutes and then they disappear. Well, coming home and after the show or even during the show, I'll go outside during the break. I want to see this neowise comet, okay? I want to see it. Everybody's getting these great photographs. So this past weekend, my friend, guess what? 3 clear nights. I look to the northwest of me and there is, sitting beautifully up in the sky, is the Big Dipper. And you know what I didn't see 3 nights in a row? Neowise. I don't think it exists. Wow. I think it's BS. I don't think it exists. And you know, I got a guy I work with. His name's Colin. All right. Colin's all hot to trot because he bugs me, Butch. He bugs me saying, you know, Bigfoot doesn't exist. That's kind of BS. So, you know, why are you wasting your time going out there? Bigfoot, I've been hunting for 35 years, never seen anything to do with Bigfoot. So guess what I did? I turned the ties because Colin comes in and starts saying to me, oh, guess what? I saw neowise. Guess what I said? Doesn't exist. And he goes, why? I said, because I haven't seen it. And he goes, well, there's thousands of photos of this, and I saw it myself with other witnesses. And I'm like, I haven't seen it. I said, that's the same thing you tell me about Bigfoot every time. I've seen Bigfoot. I said, you can't have it both ways. So I'm pissed off. 3 nights in a row, have not seen Bigfoot. I'm going to try again tonight after the show. Okay, but I'm getting a little pissed off with this comet because I'm not going to be around in 6,500 years to see it again.
Well, I mean, the last couple astral events that I was out watching for, it was nothing but clouds. I didn't see squat. So it happens.
No, it's garbage. Doesn't exist. Does not exist. Every one of those photos that people are posting online, I am officially convinced, is now Photoshop.
Okay.
You know what the worst part about it is? I'm sounding like Butch Witkowski tonight.
Yes, you are.
All right, Butch, for people who may not know who you are or what you're all about, all right, why did you decide to spend your beautiful retirement where you could have been sipping margaritas on the beaches of Mexico? Instead, you were chasing around cryptids, monsters, ghosts, UFOs, aliens, and every man in black in between.
It's really just a search for the truth. I mean, you know, for 30-some years now, reading and listening and taking reports and, like you said, running around the woods and getting a bad neck from staring up at the sky. It's really just a quest for finding the truth. And, I mean, at one point it was a hobby, I guess, when I first started, and then now it's a full-time gig. But I've met a lot of interesting people. I've met a lot of very interesting researchers. My time between U4 Cop and Lon Strickler's Fortean team takes up a lot of time. UFO reports, they're picking up a pretty good amount, and cryptid reports, they're all over the place. I mean, everything's running around out there all over the world. The hard part with those things are you usually get those reports way after the fact, and or they give you the whole report, but they don't give you the location. So, you know, between doing real reports and the story reports, it keeps you busy. It really does keep you busy. Plus, you know, I try to keep up on all the new stuff coming out, new books, new equipment, and whatever. Get to listen to a couple radio shows now and then, but most of the time it's spent, you know, looking up stuff, researching everything, including my old favorites, the Dyatlov case and the North Carolina school teacher that got mauled, and you know, they're just different things that, you know, just stuck with me, and I pretty much check up on them. Of course, the Todd Cease case, you know, that I check that pretty much every week, see if anything new's going on. But it's between the ongoing investigations and the new stuff that's out there, I keep pretty busy.
You do. But why continue this, Butch? I mean, why do you believe that these creatures exist, that you need to be spending your hard-earned time doing this and investing your own money into this?
Well, you know, just the sheer number of reports. Now, granted, there's been Bigfoot for the last 50-plus years, thousands of reports, but with the bipedals, lots of reports, of course, lots of things in the sky, of course, but they all just can't be a myth, and they all can't be made up. You know, there's just too many reports to say that, oh, you know, it's you can debunk it, or it's a hoax, or this, that, and the other thing. People are seeing something. Now, whether they're seeing what they say they're seeing, that's a whole nother ballgame. I mean, misidentification is a biggie, you know, and misinformation, that's another biggie. But, and of course, the fame and glory crowd. But a lot of the reports, especially in areas where you wouldn't think you would have those kind of reports, that's the part that really gets me. Like, basically, they're like closer to an urban area, or they are, nonchalantly crossing a big highway, which is like nuts. But it's one of those things where, the bug just bit me in the butt, and I've been at it ever since, and I'll continue at it.
Well, I mean, what was that bug that bit? Was it the amount of reports, or was it something that hit home close?
Something hit home close was the first thing the first UFO sighting I ever had, and I wasn't by myself. As a matter of fact, I've never been myself when I've seen a UFO, and so I know I'm not crazy. If everybody else sees it and I see it, well, then I'm half sane. But it was something that I couldn't explain. Other people saw it at the same time. I mean, and when I tried to check up on it, calling the media, the police departments, the state, calling everybody I could think of that would have gotten a report. And everybody's like, no, we didn't get nothing. Now, that's just hogwash. I mean, I saw and everybody else saw what we saw. There's no denying that. That's what it was. It was not from this earth. And for somebody to tell me that they didn't see that out of a town with over 500,000 people in it, that's crap. And I'm the only lucky one with the rest of these people standing beside of me that saw this. Not happening. And, I right after that, I tried to find everything I could, but, when you don't know what you're looking for and you just start out, I spent more time buying books and reading periodicals and nutsing around the internet, and I got tired of it. And then, like I said before, I was watching a show one night, and it was a show on UFOs, and the bug bit me, and I've been at it ever since, and now it's 30 plus years.
Do you ever feel that we are getting closer to the truth? Or is this going to continue being a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back type of research?
No, I think the truth has been out there for a long time. Now, I can't say what I consider to be the truth, and what I mean when I say that is, there's things in the sky that we see that aerodynamically we cannot copy. There's no way we can do that. There are things that people report that are in the woods and in different areas of swamps and wherever, or mountains and deserts, that there's just too many reports that are logical. They're describing something that, yeah, it could be. They're not out far left with crazy stuff. And, the government every now and then slips in their 2 cents, with their new TV shows and showing gun camera shots of craft that catch or get a hold of. And I just feel as though, in Project Blue Book, they actually told everybody that these things exist. There's 1,355 reports in Blue Book out of, I forget how many thousand, that said, we don't know what they are. We haven't got a clue what they are. Now, the rest of them, they kind of debunk or, chew off the bottom end of and just throw it out there and let the people make up their own mind. But actually, there's 1,350 some reports out there that they can't explain, whether they're craft flying or craft in getting involved with military aircraft or commercial aircraft that happened. So, to me, they've already told us that there are things out there that we don't know what they are. And now I saw a couple stories where just recently where they're gonna come out and so everybody now thinks that they're gonna spill the beans. No, they're not gonna spill anything. They'll just keep your attention, just feed you little cracker crumbs every now and then. But look, things are in the sky. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they come from. We don't know who's piloting them. We don't even know if there's a pilot. And, then that brings in the abduction crowd, and then that brings in the mysterious disappearances and the cattle mutilations, et cetera, et cetera. But there's just too many odd things that happen. Now, whether it's sightings of Bigfoot, people say they see it, they don't know what it is. And you got people that, oh, I know what it is. It's a Neanderthal. They crossed over from the land bridge from Russia to the United States. Baloney. And it's just a missing humanoid. Then you got it just goes on and on and on. It seems like whatever somebody comes up with, somebody has an excuse for it. And I kind of ignore those excuses, because when you look back, here's a prime example. The Dyatlov case. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
I'm sure most of your readers are. Okay, so last year, 2019, the Russian government started their own investigation to put an end to the investigation that's out there now. So they come back and they say that actually there was a avalanche and the people ran out and to get away from it, and they died of hypothermia. That's it. That was the end of a one-year investigation. Now, a couple things that just bother me. First of all, if there was an avalanche, why is the tent still standing there? Number two, why do these people have all the injuries that they had? Crushed chest, broken limbs, missing parts. I mean, no. So the landslide the snowslide didn't do any damage. They sure as hell didn't run a mile and just run into trees on purpose. There were burns. There were burned clothing. There was military gear found at the scene, which shouldn't have been there. One of the investigators for the Russian, kind of like our Attorney General, he sends out a guy 2 weeks to investigate this thing. 2 weeks before they died, he was out to investigate their death. The same old crap that you hear with everything else. I mean, Bigfoot and the bipedal canines. But then it falls back to this. You have people that see things and they're shook. And the description is pretty much right on the money. The bipedal reports that we've gotten here in Pennsylvania, every report matches, with the exception of one, and that was a hoax. But every report matches. Size, shape, color, what it looked like, how it acted, end of story. I recently met with some DCNR guys on a case, which they're like our park rangers for the state. And, they said right out, yeah, sure, there's stuff running around all over the place, but who are we going to tell that to? We don't want that on the news. We don't want to put that, the minute we do that, we're going to be out of a job. He said, and, reports of panthers, mountain lions. They'll never admit, our game commission will never admit to that, because number one, you put that out and nobody will go to their campgrounds and spend money. And, you got to follow the money every now and then. But it's strange that, the reports keep coming in. Some change, but not much. Lon gets a ton of them, where you sometimes just beat a dead horse. People send in a report and then you try to get a hold of them. They don't get back to you, so I pretty much write those off as a hoax. When they don't get back to you or they don't want to talk to you, then why even bother putting it out? But up in your part of the country, Bigfoot sightings abound with lots of good evidence, lots of footprints, places where they've been nesting. So another thing that just popped up around here about in Pennsylvania, maybe a month ago, where a couple people reported seeing a daddy Bigfoot and a mommy Bigfoot and a baby Bigfoot and a juvenile Bigfoot. And I'm going like, that's all we needed.
Well, you know what? It is something that just makes us shake our head, Butch, because we don't know what the hell is going on in our forest. I want to focus here for a few minutes, and it might go into continue after the break here, Butch, about UFOs. Okay. The New York Times drops their big story, and Harry Reid, the former senator of Nevada, comes out and basically says that we have crash retrievals of aircraft.
Yes.
And then the next day,
Yes.
he says, I never said that. Look at me. I'm a cranky old curmudgeon, and, you know, tosses his glasses, maybe shifts his toupee a little bit. And, you know, the New York Times has to write a retraction. In all your years of investigation, okay, I'm curious to get your opinion on this.
Sure. Harry Reid is telling the truth. He was just really told to shut up, and therefore you got the retraction. But he talked about this along with John Podesta many years back. They talked about it. Podesta was trying to get the Clinton people to open up UFO files. Harry Reid fronted money to different UFO investigative groups over time. And this last foray that he went into where he was talking about it, but he was basically told, like, you know, you're out of here. You're not a senator anymore. You know, unfortunately, you're dying of pancreatic cancer, so keep your mouth shut. And that's what he did. And, of course, the New York Times, they printed the retraction as they were told to do. But, yeah, look, in 1947, nobody knew what half the things were that they had that started popping up within a 2-3 year period. You know, transistors, microwaves, you know, LED lighting in its infancy, all that kind of stuff, advanced radar, different propulsion systems. And I just read an article the other day, you know, where a very large building at Area 51, there was an aerial shot of it that was taken, I think, last month or the month before. And another aerial shot was taken just a couple weeks ago, and it's gone. So I doubt very much if anybody abducted a building, but it was probably the biggest building they had on the base, and it disappeared. So they're moving stuff away, around, and out of the area. You know, technology allows people right off the street to get very high-powered optical devices, very high-powered cameras. So just putting people on a mountain that's 20 miles away and saying, well, you can't photograph here, doesn't mean they're not going to be photographing. I guess the inevitable question that comes up to me a lot is, do I believe? Yeah, I do. I just don't know what they are, where they're from, and who's piloting them, if anybody. So, you know, I've always been a skeptical believer, but there's just way, way, way too much evidence out there. And not just from here, over in Europe, in Spain, Mexico. I mean, it's just crazy. The UFO group in Spain, I can't ever pronounce their name, so don't even ask me, but they're the largest group in Spain. I mean, they've had some phenomenal photographs and phenomenal videos of UFOs in flight. Undersea UFOs are being reported more now than ever. I mean, before, if you wanted to look at USO reports, you had to really dig or go buy a book. But now there, you know, a lot more boats out there. A lot more people are not afraid to talk anymore. So, I mean, the Russians have had all kind of problems with the undersea UFOs, but they are what they are. It's just like, you know, and you got to take people at face value. So, Dave, if you tell me you saw a Bigfoot, I'm going to go like, okay, Dave saw a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Sit tight, you know, and make sure the goldfish in your platform shoes are still alive and well, because we would appreciate that. You know, this is a humane show here. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens, and, you know, around the final week of every month. And we love having Butch here from UFOcop.com. We're going to continue some UFO talk with Butch when we come back on Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, that's a good first half hour, man. Good first half hour.
That went fast. That went fast.
I know. And I kept screwing with my camera angle, and I'm hating it. Friggin' hating it. Let's try that. Oh, how's that? Oh, that's too much, for God's sakes. Fuck. Oh, that's just pissing me off. That's better. Finally. Got it. Now I gotta move these papers so that way they don't look so crotchety and crabby and messy and son of a bitch. All right. Hold on. Put a gnome there. That works. All right. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Whew.
How much time we got there, boss?
You got enough time to sit down and tinkle, that's for sure.
How'd you know I sit down? Never mind. Yeah. Sick pup, man. Sick pup. Just a sick pup.
Oh, God. Sometimes I make myself laugh. Sometimes I make myself laugh. No, we're good now. We're good now. Friggin' hot in here. Friggin' hot in here. Not gonna lie. Friggin' hot.
I'm back.
No problem. Freebird on TV. Yes, Red-Headed Lisa. We love our Freebird around here. What's happening, Super Butch?
Same stuff. You know, just every day it keeps going.
You know, I owe a big thank you to, I know he's in the chat room right now, but Lon Strickler from fandomsandmonsters.com. I think you know him, Butch. You've met him once or twice. Anyways, Lon, for our Tuesday shows that I do right across Canada, Lon always sets me up with Canadian reports. So that way I can read them on air. And of course, you know, in return, I give his website a couple of huge plugs on there. But, you know, that's just so helpful for me, man, when he does that. I mean, I just want to say, you know, and, you know, we got a large crowd in our chat room right now. But the way Lon Strickler helps me out with that, that's a real class move. Real class move. He doesn't have to do that, but he goes out of his way to push some Canadian stories our way. So when we go across Canada, I can read them. And Lon, I thank you for allowing me to look good across Canada on the radio with some cool stories, man. And you're a class individual, and I love you. And thank you so much for supporting what we do here. So that's it. That's all he's getting from me. That's it.
Well, he's lucky you didn't send him. You're lucky you didn't send him a bill.
Fun. I was gonna send him flowers, but I didn't know what kind.
I think he's partial to daisies.
I always took him for a daffodil kind of guy.
I'll hear about that. I'll hear about that tomorrow.
I always took him for a daffodil kind of guy.
You think?
Yeah, I think he likes a good springtime daffodil.
He's the man.
All right, we got 1 minute here. 1 minute. Everybody in the chat room, let's give Lon a clap. Give him a round of applause if you're in the YouTube chat room. Yes. Give him a round of applause because he's a class guy. Class guy. Justin Goodearth, good to see you here. All right, 30 seconds, everyone. 30 seconds. Why am I playing musical cameras? Because I'm trying to get a good angle. I hate this angle. I do. It bugs me. I don't know why. I think my next move is I'm going to move the camera over this way, and I'm going to bring my microphone over here and see how I like that. But that'll be a weekend thing. All right, here we go, everyone. SJ, how you doing? Let's do this thing. Oh, there's some thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. All right, how's Scoreboard Bar tonight? Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, getting ready to do this thing with all of you. And yes, I love to do it with all of you. That is radio, that is. Anyhow, we got Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com here for Strange Days. I want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Instagram, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. As I said, Butch Witkowski is here for Strange Days, as we do it the final week of every month, where he comes in looking his best, wearing his frilly collared shirts. Oh, yes, this man can also rock some chest hair when he has it on out. Looks like Dogman in the Forest. Butch Witkowski, how are you?
You're sick, Dave. You're just sick. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
All right. Talking UFOs right beforehand about the New York Times article. You know, what Harry Reid said in that original quote before he tried to get it retracted. I'm going to hit you up point blank. Was that as close to disclosure as we have ever come?
Yes. I coming from somebody with that rank of senator, yes. I mean, there have been other politicians over the years that have tried to game out some of those statements, but they never went anywhere. Harry Reid's statement stands, and it was a while back. I mean, it was a number of years ago, and he got hammered for it then. And then John Podesta with the Clinton administration, he did it, and he got hammered. I know Hillary Clinton was a big pusher of disclosure of the UFO phenomenon, but you know, somebody always steps in and says no.
Yeah, what's with that no all the time? What's with that no?
You know, there's so much out there. There's so much information. There's so much evidence. You know, Socorro, New Mexico, where, you know, they had landing, they had marks. Erie, Pennsylvania, at the lake, they had marks. They had, you know, from tripod landing gear, they had a substance that evidently leaked out from the craft that landed, and whatever it was, I mean, it landed on sand, and it didn't sink into the sand. It laid on top of the sand. So I tried to get information from the state police lab in Pennsylvania on the, you know, maybe getting copies of the prints left by the craft, and also if they determined what that material was that was laying on the ground. I got nowhere. But there is a picture of a Air Force colonel at the scene looking at the marks left by the tripod and the goo that was on the ground. But how do you pursue something like that? I mean, they got the information and they're not going to give it up. Unlike you, me, or a lot of other researchers I know, we get that kind of information, man, we're going to be all over the place.
Absolutely we will. Why wouldn't we? We'd be stupid not to. You know?
Exactly.
We're not good secret holders in the UFO field, man. Not good secret holders.
No.
One of the things that disappointed
Not at all.
Butch, one of the things that disappointed me throughout this, and I had a lot of phone calls this weekend. I literally spent probably a total of 16 hours on the weekend just on the phone talking about the Harry Reid article with numerous people. And I got to tell you, one of the things that really disappointed me was how many so-called journalists out there and so-called professional researchers of this field out there were quick to believe the retraction to shoot down the New York Times story. And the way I look at this is when you have a Pulitzer Prize winner in Ralph Blumenthal having his name on this piece, you don't get things wrong. And Journalism 101, Butch, and our audience, when you go into a very heavy interview like this, you record what the person is saying, and then you transcribe the exact quote. So with the UFO field griping and complaining about the New York Times article the way they did, and still are, does this really show the immaturity of the UFO field, the misunderstanding of how journalism works, or is this just par for the course?
Well, in today's world, it's just par for the course, really. I mean, Reid made a lot of statements years ago like this, and he was tagged as funding UFO groups. He was very close to Bob Bigelow, very close to MUFON. So, he just said something that was fact, and somebody, whether it was him or the New York Times themselves, said, no, we'll just write this one off as a, here today, gone tomorrow. And that happens a lot in ufology. It doesn't, but it's funny, it doesn't really happen so much in Bigfoot or cryptozoology of any type. It always happens in ufology. There have been reports of military and Bigfoot involvement over time. We had it with a bipedal canine in Pennsylvania, where a local group up in that area were in central Pennsylvania were looking for Bigfoot or any other cryptids that were around, and out of the bush walks a guy in full combat uniform, night vision, the whole 9 yards, carrying an M4 rifle. And they said hello, and he said hello, and he immediately said, "Up, just out hunting bear." Not at 2 o'clock in the morning, you ain't hunting bear. And that time of year, the bear would have been hibernating anyway. So they always got an answer. And, sometimes it just pisses me off because they think you're stupid, that you don't know anything, or, they can feed you anything and you're going to swallow. And that doesn't work that way. There's a lot of people that say the Men in Black deal doesn't exist. Well, I don't know if they're actually Men in Black, but I'll guarantee you get into something too far, and you'll take the same trip that Forrestal did out the window. So, it's
well, just so you know,
the government.
Just so you know that if they threw me out the window of the SOR studios, I'd hit grass, and they'd actually,
well, that's good.
Yeah, and then I could run to my vehicle and take off. Which they probably got a bomb under, and then they would blow me up. But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. At least I got away for a time being.
No, it's just, you get all these little itsy bitsy pieces of information, and then, you're trying to discern what you got so that, whether you're on a show or you're just talking to somebody via email or Facebook or on the phone here at the house, and they have a question, you can intelligently answer it. But some of this stuff gets so convoluted that, just trying to get it out of your mouth and relate to somebody is like pulling teeth. But I think there are a lot more, the interest has changed now, and there's a lot more interest in ufology than has been, barring all the local and recent things that have happened in ufology. but the cryptids, there are more sightings of those, the flying, whatever they are out there in Chicago. Those reports never end, it seems. People are reporting reptilians, people are reporting these rakes, they're reporting smaller ape-like creatures. The stuff just keeps coming. And it's like I'm involved a lot, mostly in Pennsylvania, 99% in Pennsylvania. But, I see reports from all over the country, and some of them mirror some of the stuff that we have here. So, if I have a report, and I'm the only one that has that report, but I see another report maybe in Arizona or New Mexico or something like that that mimics what I've gotten, well, the chances are that what they saw and what this outfit saw the same thing. And I caught a radio show last week, was it, for about 15 minutes on my car radio, where a guy was saying Bigfoot does not exist. Well, they also said Gigantopithecus didn't exist either. So there's so many things out there that haven't been discovered yet. I mean, they make discoveries. What was it, like last year? They discovered three new ape species in 1 year. 3 that were never even cataloged or known about. So, the ocean, 97% has never been examined. There's regions in the forests in the world that nobody has ever stepped foot in. We have no idea. And it's up to researchers to, do their due diligence and get out there and do it. I mean, it's fun to talk about and it's neat to listen to, but unless you see it with your own eyes, or you're out there collecting your evidence, I mean, that's the part that'll eventually, make you feel good about what you're doing. And I say this all the time, there are more and more young people getting involved, which I think is just great, because all us guys are, we're in our 60s, late 70s, early 70s, and we don't have a whole lot of time left. So I doubt very much if I'll get an end to what I'm looking for. But maybe some other researchers will pick up on it.
Well, you know what? Let's hope. And there's some talented people coming on here, Butch. But the one thing about that new crowd that I am noticing is they're only open they're only opening their minds to what they want to believe, and they haven't been out in the field long enough to realize that there's a whole different world that they think could or could not exist that is out there. And, I realize for a lot of people, I'm not making sense. I know to you, I am, but how do you teach these young people or these newcomers to the field that you can't come in with a closed mindedness, like whether it's the bipedal canine or Bigfoot saying, you know what, this is a Gigantopithecus. This is something of an animalistic predator, rather than potentially something supernatural, which a lot of people feel it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that, I always tell the people that ask, I mean, the younger people that ask what to do and stuff like that, I tell them to read. Read Dr. Bindernagel's books, or people that knew what they were writing about. Now, a lot of those books are not fresh, new. Some are, most aren't. So you got to search them out, find those books, and read what they think, read what they went through, read what they came up with. They kind of tell the story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you have to keep an open mind. If you have any bit of a doubt that there's no such thing as a Bigfoot, you're just wasting your time. If you have doubts that remote viewing doesn't work, don't bother. And that goes for the paranormal and ufology and everything in between. You have to have an open mind, be willing to sit down and research something, whether it takes you a day or it takes you a month or it takes you a year. I mean, I've been background researching the Dyatlov case for, 5 years. Todd C. since day one. And that's years ago. And I don't let it go. And once you start to let things go, you start to bypass things that should be and could be very important to your case. And if you're just poo-pooing them away, you're doing more damage to your case than you could ever imagine. So, take notes, go to Staples, buy lots of legal pads, lots of pencils. And no matter how silly it sounds, whether you hear it on TV or on a radio or on a radio show or in a book, write it down, look at it, research it, go back and forth with it, talk to other researchers about it. Our lines here are always open for somebody that wants to discuss anything or they want to throw something out there. And I think, although a lot of the older researchers are reluctant to do that, because they think if somebody from Canada calls Butch and says they have this, that, and the other thing, they think it's a Bigfoot, and Butch gives them this information, they get a good print or something like that, I'm hurting the other researchers. That's a lot of crap. It's notorious that it's always been that the notorious fact is that researchers don't share information. Well, the researchers that don't share information don't find anything either. They take nice long walks in the woods and eat their sandwich and drink their beer and, have a little barbecue and this, that, and the other thing. And then next thing you know, they're writing a book about their experience. I would just rather have the purist out there looking, trying everything, getting a hold of other older researchers that have been out doing it for a while. Can you imagine a young researcher getting a hold of Lon Strickler and asking him a question? I mean, Lon could keep him on the phone for 3 days.
True.
So you have certain elements of the crowd, and when I say the crowd, the researchers out there today, that are very good. They're extremely good. They're knowledgeable. They know how to research. They know how to background research. And people always say, what do you do background research for? Well, if I'm looking up something on a werewolf or a bipedal canine, I'm going to go back and find out when these reports started, how far back do they go, blah, 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 and take it from there. Now, you do gain a lot of knowledge, but then, then you got to think skinwalker. So that takes you to another realm. So then you got to discover and research all the skinwalker stuff. And you just make connections: werewolf, bipedal canine, dogman, skinwalker, and skinwalker reports right now have been, really getting crazy, because I don't think I even heard one last year. This year already, I think I read 4 or 5. So what they are, where they are, and what they do, a lot of it's legend. A lot of it you can't debunk because there's no way you can debunk it. And, people that debunk things, when they say, well, that wasn't a UFO, well, fine, okay, then tell me what it was. They usually don't have that answer. So it's a matter of, getting the younger guys and girls out there doing their thing, researching, and not being afraid to call and ask questions.
Well, that's a tough one, because a lot of people are still trying to figure out what it is they're actually seeing. But, one of the things that I've noticed is you don't hear a lot of Men in Black stories anymore. Okay, where have they disappeared to? Have they finally gone to the digital age, or are they out in public without their black suits and we just don't even know it?
Oh, I think they ditched the black suits many, many, many years ago. Now it could be a phone call. It could be break into your internet connection and leave you a message. I mean, there's so many ways they could do it now. But if somebody would get involved with something like that, where they had that kind of information, or where they'd be contacted by somebody like that, wow. I mean, their best bet would be to spread that with as many researchers as they could, and then, hide whatever material they have, make several copies and give them to people, like a trustworthy lawyer or put in a bank or whatever. But and I'm not saying they're a thing of the past. I guess what I'm saying is they've just found a better way to do it, an easier way to get around things. Let's put it that way, without drawing too much attention.
It's become more about computers and computer hacking, hasn't it? Tell that story.
Yes,
tell that story about your computer. You bought a $2,000-$3,000 laptop.
Oh yeah. I bought the computer and paid a lot of money for it, and loaded it up, and I was using it for a few months, and it was great. A lot of storage, and just exactly what I wanted. And for giggles, one night I decided to go look into Raven Rock, which is a military installation on the border of Pennsylvania and Delaware, Maryland. And it's a secret underground base. And I was just nosy, So they showed you a picture of the outside and how big it was, and, very little. There might have been 2-3 paragraphs the most on a couple pictures. And so I just started skirting through the site, and I don't know where I was going anymore, but one site took me to another site, and then that directed me to another site, and my computer screen went black. And I thought, now what, right? Well, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't turn it on, couldn't turn it off, couldn't do anything. It was just dead. So I took it to the computer guy that does my work. He had it for a day, and he called me, and he said, what the hell did you do to this thing? I said, I didn't do anything. I told him what I was doing. He said, well, where did you go with this? And I said, then I told him. And he says, this computer is empty. I said, oh, well, just reboot it. He went, no, you don't understand. The computer is empty. There is nothing in this computer. Nothing. Zero. Nada. Everything has been wiped. And I went like, oh, my God. So I warned my guys out in the field not to do this. Well, of course, there's always one who tried it. And same thing happened to him. Just took him a little longer. So I don't mess around those sites anymore. I think that gets a little expensive.
Yes.
But, look, you go bounce around those sites, and if you don't think they're watching or looking, you're crazy.
No, and that's exactly true. That's exactly true. And from having to experience that, you got one expensive paperweight there, man, or doorstop.
Yeah, pretty much doorstop. Mm-hmm. I mean, I couldn't even salvage anything from it. It was just totally useless. It was like having a plastic box with nothing in it. You couldn't do anything. Nothing. It didn't twitch. And he said, he took the case apart and everything like that, thinking, well, maybe some power supply went down or that. He said, took the power supply out and plugged it in. It worked fine. He said, from that point on, there is nothing in your computer. No files, nothing. Now, I back my files up all the time. But that was the only thing that saved that. But it's a little expensive when you're screwing around with something you shouldn't be. Yeah. And I know better. I just,
I'm sure the wife.
I was just getting nosy.
I'm sure the wife didn't appreciate that.
I don't even think I ever told her.
Well, let's hope she doesn't listen to this. Butch, when we come back, we're going to get into some audience questions here because I know that with Seattle getting their new NHL team called the Kraken, I know there are questions about whether or not the Kraken really exists. So we're going to hit up Butch Witkowski from Strange Days and UFOcop.com because you can check them on out. If you have a sightings report, you can get Butch and his team to take a look at it as well. And, what else is he going to do? He's sitting at home in Pennsylvania. Right. You can only wax the bowling shoes so many times before you got to go respond to cryptid questions. More with Butch Witkowski coming up on Spaced Out Radio. Waxing the bowling shoes. There you go, Butch.
I think you just killed my chance of being in Gentleman's Quarterly.
I'll be right back, boss.
All right, man.
I'm going to run my dogs out. put these on.
A good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there. The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, sir.
All right. Don't be so excited.
Okay.
We're at 157. 157. All right. 10 away from tying the record. 10 away. See if we can do it. Come back here. 158. All right. Mm-hmm. All right, we got about minute 10 seconds, Butch. Minute 10.
Okay. Is that Stan's record, the 157?
167 is Stan's record.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 159 now. All right. 30 seconds. I want to say a big thank you to both Mark and Grendel for kicking off the super chat tonight. Really do appreciate that. And a good way to support this show is to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, go to our website, join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, and to sorry, got a little dot on my glasses, and to do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Here we go with hour number 2 with Butch Witkowski. Music's on, Butch.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Second hour is underway on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We really do appreciate all of you for coming on in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. You can check out our archives. They are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Frankelmoin. Frankelmoin is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight, we got Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. He joins us the final week of every month for Strange Days, where we kind of break down all the weird and strange happenings from around North America. Butch, welcome back.
Good to be back, sir.
All right. Let's start off with a few questions from our audience. This one from Gary the Spudger. He's asking what you think of the family attack at the LBL. Do you know about that?
No.
All right. Moving on. Prairie Fire is asking, is there anything new in the Todd Seas investigation?
No, we're still trying to locate his son. I think that's coming up to be a lost cause.
That's got to suck.
Probably skipped.
For sure. All right, let's move on. Michael Leger, the Michael Leger, is asking, Butch, could you tell a story of an overnight in the forest? Anything weird going on?
Yeah. I got a couple of those, but I guess the weirdest one was we went up to Clearfield County, Pennsylvania, where we had our first 2 bipedal canine reports. And it was just a weird trip. We had made arrangements. One of our guys made arrangements to go to a large Boy Scout camp, which was closed at that point of the year, and to get a spot, one of the campsites so we could spend time up there. And we told them what we were looking for, and they didn't have any problem with that. So we got there, and at that point we were still kicking around skinwalkers and bipedal canines. What could it be? And we had contacted the Cherokee and all that stuff. Well, the first oddball thing that happened was when we got to the campsite, they all have an Indian name. Well, of course, we're up at the top of the mountain in the campsite that we received. That was kind of weird, but it was a full moon weekend, and we had no sounds. We recorded nothing. It was just quiet. And for that area, according to the ranger, coy wolves, bear, deer. The place is loaded with anything that walks, crawls, or flies. We saw and heard nothing for the weekend. Nothing. No, our recorders picked up nothing. Thermal imaging picked up nothing. Infrared picked up nothing. During the daytime, with a fire going, no problem. But at night, the fire kept going out. Wind direction kept changing north, south, east, west, which I guess isn't real odd. I didn't think it was real odd until I sent, information from our SD card in the small weather station, not the big one, but the small one. And, they said, yeah, well, it's not that odd for wind to go north, south, east, west. But he said it only happens in the Himalayas. I was like, oh, great. He said, you weren't in the Himalayas where? He said, no, I wasn't. It was just weird. The quietness. I mean, the park ranger who's been there at that point, he was there for like 11 or 12 years, telling us, he's heard just about every animal and seen every animal that's on that property. But he did mention that there was some an unknown screaming, howling type affair down by a swamp area, which he never heard or never knew what it was or never figured out what it was. But he said he never heard anything like that. The 2 bipedal reports we had, they were within 10 miles of that camp. We had talked to one gentleman, older gentleman, who lived down the road from the camp, private individual, who walks up through there, and he said many times he saw large shadows running through the woods. It was just a bizarre weekend. I mean, nothing was as it should have been. You should have heard. We should have been able to hear or see animals in that area. We heard nothing. And, the age-old adage is, if the woods go silent, there's a predator nearby. So we kind of figured that, whatever it was nearby.
That is scary. It's never fun when the forest goes quiet. That is 100% for sure, man. I mean, we see that up here all the time. I mean, I remember, it was just a couple months ago. We were out in the forest, birds chirping away. You could hear them all. And we were out rock collecting because we were building a rock garden in our front yard. And all of a sudden, everything went silent. So I called over and I said, look, we got to get back in the vehicle. And everybody was like, why? I said, because listen. And the forest was dead quiet. Nothing. Yep, that's what it was. And that's when it doesn't matter what it is. That's nothing cryptid. It could be, but the likelihood is rare. All right. So here we are in the middle of the forest and everything goes silent. You get in your vehicle. It's just a safety precaution because you don't know if it's a grizzly bear, a cougar, a Bigfoot, a dogman, a giant moose. Yeah. You don't know. Yeah. But one thing's for sure, whatever's out there could probably kill you.
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. We got that in common. All right, let's move on here. Joe is asking, Butch, would you rather fight a Bigfoot or a dogman if you had to choose?
Oh, well, I figured out Bigfoot I'm not too sure of, but dogman I kind of figured that out. So what I'm going to do there is just yell sit, throw him a tennis ball, and get back in my truck and get the hell out of there.
Nice. Good call on that. Good call. Always thinking safety. Butch Witkowski on Spaced Out Radio. Okay, let's get to it here. Robin wants to know, because he lives in the Washington state area near Seattle. And Seattle, of course, last week announced they have a new NHL team called the Kraken. And, this goes to mythical folklore of the giant squid taking down sail ships and tall ships in the oceans in the Atlantic and the Pacific, coming from the deep depths of the ocean to attack these ships. And this is legend that has been going on for the last 500 years. So Robin wants to know, do you believe the Kraken is real?
Well, I think everybody's pretty much come to the conclusion that the Kraken was a giant squid, which they have located and they have captured. But I would have something really great for Robin if he wants to make a ton of money. Print a T-shirt that says "Stay calm, release the Kraken."
There you go. That's why you're legendary, right there. That's why you are legendary. Coming up with all these $1 million ideas. But I mean, getting back to the ocean though, and I realize the ocean really isn't your forte for what you do and what you're all about. However, you know, there's a lot of people who believe, Butch, that there is still a lot of cryptid type creatures hanging out in ocean waters. I mean, could there be some sort of plesiosaurs that we hear about Loch Ness and other sea monsters? We think Megalodon, the Kraken. I mean, we don't know.
There was just a thing on, I forget what channel it was. Maybe it was during Shark Week, but it was last year, not this year's shows. And a professor and his team were studying Megalodon. And although Megalodon teeth have been found pretty much everywhere, including in the desert, he has some reservations right now because I guess they were, I'm pretty sure he said carbon dating them, and a lot of them were very old. Most of them were very old, but he found a couple that were not very old, and I think he dated them to the mid-17th or mid-18th century, and which was kind of weird. But, you know, they were big. I mean, there was nothing. They had no predators that were after them. I mean, just like everybody says, great white shark is the king of the roost out there. And that's not true. You know, it's the killer whales that they're the boss, and they'll take on any great white, no problem. But yeah, I think there could be a lot out there. But it's like they all say, you know, like 97% of the ocean has not been explored due to depth or tides and all that kind of stuff. But although I don't, you know, it interests me when I read some of that stuff, but I don't really know enough to comment on it a whole lot, other than the fact that, you know, look how long it was before they found all these cities from the Mayan and Empire and they've located more by LiDAR, and they're all over the place. I mean, there's hundreds of them, and they've picked up 6 or 8, I think. So, you know, what else could, and that's on land, that's in the jungle, but, you know, what could be in the ocean? Anything. They've located, what was it? I don't think it was a sperm whale. It might have been a sperm whale. One of the whale family, and that was like 17 or 18 feet longer than it should have been, and about 10 feet wider than it should have been. And the mouth was like 20% larger. So it was a different species. But I think they tagged it as a sperm whale. Now, whether that's just an oddball or if that's another species that's out there. And then look at all the things that they catch down in deep water where, you know, divers can't go. You got to use a diving bell or something like that. Look at some of the stuff they're pulling out of there, and some of the stuff that are being caught off the coast of Japan. I mean, this guy pulled something up on his boat. I thought I would have shot that and threw it right back over the side. But no, he's got it hanging up there, and it looked like an eel, but it was much longer and wider. The head was very strange. Even though a moray eel has a lot of teeth, this thing had like twice that many teeth and a lot longer. And its eyes acted something like a shark, where it would roll over white, you know, to black. So I don't know. Anything could be out there, but I know a lot of researchers tagged the Kraken as a large squid. But you know, if you were out in the ocean in those little boats back in those days, and something latched onto the boat, yeah, I guess it could be a Kraken.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. This is something, I'm going to be honest, I don't want to find it. And by the way, Butch, you'll be happy to know that you are now officially the new record holder of our live YouTube audience. Okay, the previous record was 168 by your good friend Stan Gordon, and we have just hit 172. So you are the man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one, just like we said at the top of the show. Butch Witkowski, record holder of Spaced Out Radio right now. I'm pretty happy for you. I'm going to clap for you, Butch. There we go. I'm clapping for you, man.
Now, do I get that free? Do I get that free trip to Saskatchewan?
Well, you got to learn how to pronounce it first. You got to learn how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Saskatchewan.
Oh, close.
Saskatchewan.
Okay. Saskatchewan.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So I'll give you a little bit of high school humor here. I was talking to my cousin last night in Las Vegas, and he's originally from, him and his wife and kids are originally from Calgary, and they moved to Vegas 20 years ago. And anyways, he's telling me this story about his daughter came home from a geography class, and she's kind of snickering, and he goes, "What are you laughing at?" She goes, "Dad, I put my hand up today to answer a question. What's the capital of Canada?" And I said, "It's Ottawa." And the teacher goes, "You're pronouncing it wrong." And she goes, "No, I'm not." And the teacher goes, "It is pronounced Ottawa. Ottawa. Yeah, Ottawa." And so my cousin had to go in and explain to the teacher that they're from Canada and that the teacher was pronouncing the name wrong, and got in an argument with the teacher over it.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
That's why they're teachers.
Yes. So I found that kind of funny. Butch Witkowski is here. We've got about 7 minutes to go before we get to the break at the bottom of the hour. Butch, well, you know, we've talked a lot about Kraken already, whether or not it exists. You know, Megalodon is another one. I mean, I saw a picture yesterday on social media of what would have been about a 10 to 11 foot great white shark. And this thing had a bite out of it from spine to spine. All it was the head, and the bite mark was right around the gills, and all that was left was spine. And it was a one bite shot. Okay, maybe not Megalodon, but do you think there is this hybrid of great white that is maybe roaming the ocean, that maybe goes between that 20 to 40 foot mark that we just are not seeing?
That's possible, but I would. That bite mark has been seen many times on many great whites, done by killer whales, orcas. For some reason, they have this thing for great white livers, and the last picture I saw just a few days ago, as a matter of fact, on Shark Week, they had one that washed up on shore, and it had that type of bite mark, like something huge went into it. Well, something huge was the orca. But what they'll do is they'll corral a great white, where a great white, you know, they'll just keep bumping him to the surface, and they'll corral him between a bunch of them, and then one will do the attack. And that's all they do. They just take that bite out at the gill area, where right below that is the liver. They take that bite out, take that liver, and they're gone. And then, of course, the liver creates the buoyancy for a shark, and then the shark just goes to the bottom and drowns or gets washed on shore.
It is kind of cool the way nature takes care of that. You know, like I wouldn't want to see that. I mean, that's a good fight. I mean, we talk about Bigfoot versus Dogman. You imagine seeing killer whale versus great white? I want to see that battle. Man. That one's going to work for me.
I'll watch it from the truck.
Well, I'm not going on a boat. I'll watch it on camera. I'm not watching it from a boat. Hell no. You know, with my luck, even if I'm in a helicopter, one of them is going to jump up and rip that helicopter down. You know, I saw Jaws 3. I know what happens. Big Cat has a question for you here, Butch, as we got about 4.5 minutes. What does Butch think? So that's you. about the amount of new species being found every year of sharks and mantas?
I think that's great because there are. Now, I just got that number in my head the other day. Now, what was it? There are approximately 150 or 200 shark varieties that are known, but only about 30 to 40 varieties are ever seen. And now they're pulling these ones up from the deep ocean, which are strange looking. I mean, they're just bizarre. They don't look anything like a shark, but they are shark family. And they are not, most sharks will eat each other if they're hungry. These sharks feed basically off the bottom, like, crustaceans, stuff like that. But new species of shark are always coming up. And a lot of these guys that are out there in the deep oceans now, they're doing what they call deep netting. Where they'll go for a whole school of redfish or herring or whatever. And, they'll try to corral them all. And they're the ones that are picking up all these strange sharks that are also inside that whirlwind of fish, getting a free lunch. But, yeah, there's a lot of new species. There's a really good site if you want to get any of that information. It's the South African Shark Board, and it's on the net. But they have a lot of information on there.
And now they're tracking them, and the sharks are heading further north towards Canada.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Oh,
yeah.
We've hit 182, Butch. We've hit 182. You keep breaking your own record now. That's nice. Very nice.
Well, some of these sharks that they're tagging, they're tagging these sharks down around Florida and in Bermuda and off the Carolinas, and these sharks go like 1,000+ miles and turn around and go right back to where they started. How do they do that? But there's one, I can't remember the name. They gave her a name. It's a female. And last year she traveled something like 3,600 miles in one season. And she was all the way down into the Florida Keys, and she was all the way up off the coast of Cape Cod.
Yeah, I think that one was also recorded up near Nova Scotia, too, when they found out she was pregnant.
Right. Yeah, that same one. That's the one.
Yeah. That's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they get that big, you know what, Butch? People like you and me are meals. We're not appetizers.
Oh, yeah.
We're meals.
I always looked at it this way. When you enter the ocean, you enter the food chain.
Absolutely. I that just scares the daylights out of me. Like Marty here on Twitter put a GIF on a megalodon. I can't even look at it, man. It's scaring the daylights out of me. Just scaring honestly, I'm feeling like anxiety over this. It's weird. Yeah. Not looking forward to that. But, Butch, we've got about 30 seconds here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour here. And I'll tell you, as we wrap up the ocean talk, I think it's only a matter of time before some of these bigger creatures get organized. Not organized. Get noticed a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot more people doing research on them now, too.
True. Very true. You're a man of many words there, Butch Witkowski, and that's why we love you around here. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the final week of every month, where we bring Butch on from UFOcop.com. He takes your questions if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. And we're talking all things weird, strange, creepy, paranormal, monstrous, ufological, and more on the mighty SOR. Butch Witkowski breaking a record, everybody. 183. New record. 183. We're down to 177 right now. Okay. But I'll tell you, 183. That's a good. I mean, you just hammered Stan Gordon. Hammered them.
Uh-oh, hate mail.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
I think I need a A&W root beer. That sounds good.
That is good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'd put a scoop of vanilla ice cream in it, but I'd spill it all over the floor. Kitchen's too far away. I'm at the other end of the house. See, you trip upstairs. I don't have to have stairs. I can trip just while I'm walking.
You got to bring up the whole stair incident, right? You just got to bring that up. Hey, Mr. Noodles.
I'm sorry.
Welcome. All right. Welcome and good night. Have a good sleep. Plug us in your headset so that way you can listen to us while you doze off. That's what I do. Mm-hmm.
What do we got there, Chief?
You got about 4.5 minutes.
Oh, I can jog that far.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't jog. We don't need you to have another jammer here.
No, we don't.
No, definitely not. A&W has to have the best root beer. Totally. Followed by Dad's. Love Dad's root beer. Merman! Merman! Exactly. I got iced tea tonight. I got some iced tea. Probably next hour, I'm going to have to go mix some more. Hopefully the ice cubes I put in the freezer are frozen. Rama Flash, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Hello, Helena. When is David Politis coming back? I don't know. I don't know. No, he's not glowing. It's just he's got a white face and beard. And there's a light kind of shining that way, which is kind of glowing off of that. Brisk makes root beer? Never knew that.
I'm here.
All right, Butch, the crowd wants to know, what's your favorite kind of root beer?
A&W, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say that's number one. I like Dad's. Dad's comes in a strong number two.
That's good too. Yeah. Yep, that's good too. Yeah.
Dad's also makes a fantastic cream soda. I love cream soda.
Yes. Yep.
Big fan of the cream soda here. Big fan. All right, we got about 90 seconds. Hires is good root beer too. Hires is strong. I was thinking Hires. Those are probably my top three. Hey, Helena Hawk, how are you? We got 1 minute, Butcherino.
Okay.
We got 30 seconds. Rama Flash, are you in Malaysia? Where are you? Because we're trying to up our see how many countries we have in here. There's 175 people. I want to know how many countries we have. People from countries, different countries. I would appreciate that. Let me know. I know we got Canada and the United States. I know we got the Great Britain, I believe. I know we got Australia. I need to know. All right, we're coming back right now. Thank you, Science Bob, for joining Mark and Grendel in the super chat. Really do appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up. 177 people. If you're liking what we do, give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We are here every Monday through Friday on YouTube. Welcome back. As we pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Butch Witkowski as Strange Days continues. Butch's website, uforcop.com. Butch, welcome back to the show.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting the list of countries of people listening to us right now. We have New Zealand, Australia. We have Malaysia, England, of course, the USA and Canada. I'm curious where everybody else is from. This is just mind-blowing, man. We're literally worldwide. We are worldwide right now. It's awesome.
That's good.
That's awesome. You're loved everywhere, Butch Witkowski, record holder. Record holder. Anyways, Butch, let's get into some. You know what a lot of people aren't discussing these days is paranormal, ghosts. Mm-hmm. It is very, very quiet on the ghost front. Now, I don't know whether that's because of COVID-19 and there's not enough investigations going on anywhere or people just can't get into buildings. But, is paranormal and ghost hunting cyclical? And right now it's just all about the UFO because of the mainstream attention?
I think a lot of it is the COVID-19. People are not going out. I know some states, even some of the shows that were on, the paranormal shows, they're doing all reruns and stuff like that because they're not going out. A lot of places like the old prisons and the old mansions and stuff that were open to investigators are closed because of the virus. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think what you're going to see, though, is, even Star Watches, a lot of those have been canceled. Look, all the UFO conferences, pretty much they all been canceled. A lot of researchers that had stuff planned, for conferences or speaking engagements, they've all been cut off and cleaned out. So I think a lot of it has to do with the virus. But I guess the good news is now I think they might have a vaccine coming soon. So hopefully that works out and everybody can get back to work and go back to what they were doing.
Well, hopefully, because you got to wonder, and I say this in jest, but with some truth to it. You have to wonder if the ghosts are enjoying the time off from being pestered.
That could be, yeah, that could be, I guess. Paranormal's. Everybody says, well, if you can do UFOs, you can do paranormal, you can do cryptos. No. Even though they might all be connected, which I think they are, the techniques are different, the equipment's different, the research is different. Like if I'm researching a UFO, I can go back and look in that area and, check reports that go back in that area, in that particular time area. You get paranormal, if the paranormal folks are worth their salt, they're going to go back and look at county records on when the home was built, where it was built, who built it, and, who lived in it, and they can check records on whoever lived in it. And, it's just different. Cryptozoology, you're looking for, not just footprints, but you're looking for where they may hibernate, or where they may live, or where they stay, or what type of structures are they seen around, and then you got to do your research on that. So, I mean, there's a lot to it, but even though they're all basically alike, they are different in the techniques they use. Yeah, I could see the ghost taking time off.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you know what? It just seems like, finally there's no bloody humans around here to bug us, ask us, are you dead? What color eyes did you have? How did you die? I was in a gunfight. My wife caught me with my wife caught me with my mistress and shot me. I was in a gunfight. Oh yeah, I can see it all. See it all right now, man. Why not? Why not? Are you gonna? No, but you can see the ghost sitting around in like some lounging chair in their long johns from 1856. Kind of kicking their feet up. Well, I guess we have nobody to haunt today. Thank goodness. Because I'm really sick of that Dave guy coming around the building saying, hey, can you flash the lights on the K2 meter? No. Tired of that. Oh, I can see it, Butch. Totally see it. Butch Witkowski is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio for Strange Days. All right, let's move on. Butch, tell us a good ghost story. I know you got the one on the barn that you've been kind of watching over the last couple of years, but let's step away from that one for a moment here. What's the one paranormal experience you've had over your years of researching that just really troubled you?
Oh, that's pretty simple. It was a case actually given to me by Lon Strickler, and it was not far from my home where I used to live. And I contacted the gentleman, and he actually started out with a picture of a triangle that he wanted to show me. And so he was working actually works down in Philadelphia, so he doesn't get home till late. And I said, well, give me a good time. And he said, well, 9, 10 o'clock would be fine. He's up. So I get to the house, and it only took me like 10 minutes to get there. And it just, I parked, and he came walking out, and he said, now, and he showed me this picture on his phone. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's what it looks like to me, a triangle. And he tells me how he got it, blah, 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 blah. And he says, do you want to come in? He said, I got some other things I'd like to show you. And I said, yeah, okay. The minute I stepped over the threshold to go through that door, it just got squirrely. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel right. And a quick look around, and I'm looking at, there's crucifixes all over the place. There's pictures of the Inquisition, artwork. The place is nothing but antiques. There's not a new piece of furniture in the place or anything that looks new. And I said to him, what are you, an antique dealer? And he went, well, yeah, my wife and I are. And I went, oh, kind of a strange collection you got here, though. And, the more I looked, the more I saw, like pretty much everything had some type of picture of a devil or some demon-looking thing. All over the place, everywhere. And he said, we have some issues at this house. And I went like, okay, what's your issues? And he said, well, there's something here that shouldn't be here. And I'm going like, okay. And so he starts to tell me what's going on. And it's just him and his wife. And at that point, it was a little 3-year-old, I believe, boy. He said, I've lived in this house all my life. My parents used to live here, but they bought the home across the street, so I live here. They live there. And he said, I've talked to them about it. Nothing ever happened to them or anything like that. And he said strange noises, strange shadows, strange appearances, things moving that were never touched. So he starts telling me what they actually collect as antique dealers, which was they go to a lot of sales where funeral homes are going out of business or retiring and closing shop. And they go to these sales and they buy a lot of stuff. And I said, well, maybe you bought something that you shouldn't have bought. And do you bring your stuff all into the house? Then he says, well, there's one thing we brought in, but we kind of figured that might be it, so we keep it locked up out in the trunk of the car. And I said, so what would that be? And he said, well, I'll go get it. I wanted to say to him, nah, you don't need to do that. But he brought it in anyway. And it was a Haitian voodoo death mask made out of wood and human skin and animal parts. And he put a whole bunch of stuff out. He had a Haitian blood cup. He had ceremonial knives. I mean, this stuff was all just weird. Decks of cards, tarot cards from the 1700s. I'm like, wow. So I asked him if I could take pictures of everything. So I took a ton of pictures of the house, inside, outside, whatever. And he says, the issues we have, he said, we don't go upstairs anymore. And I'm going like, okay. He says, just too many things happen up there. And I went like, okay. Like what? Well, let's go up. Now I went up first. He was behind me. Kind of think that was stupid, but I did it anyway. Now that I think about it. And his wife wouldn't go up at all. So they basically live on the first floor of the house. And they won't go in the basement. He says, I don't know what's in the basement. He said, but every time we go down there, we see strange things and stuff starts moving around. Okay. We get upstairs and we go into their master bedroom. And I had an EMF meter in my hand and nothing out of the ordinary until I got to a closet that was screwed shut and that needle pinned. And I said, why is it screwed shut? He said, well, it's an entryway. And I'm going like, an entryway for what? And he said, I don't know what it is, but if I took those screws out, he said, the door would open by itself. And you could see right here, he said, it's locked. And I said, okay, you got a screwdriver? Now, after I said that, I realized how dumb I could be. So I got the screwdriver, took the 4 screws out, turned around and put the screwdriver down on the bed with the screws, and the door opened. It was still locked.
Okay.
Now, how did that happen? Right?
And
so
this is right in front of you. This is right in front of you.
Yeah, right in front of me. Oh, yeah. He's standing right behind me. He said, I think we better close it up now. I said, okay. So we closed it up, and he screwed it fast again. And he said, in the other room where we have an issue is the bathroom. And I said, okay. So we go into the bathroom. And he said, look at all that hair. And I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at a whole bunch of blonde hair that's got some red tint to it. And he said, there's nobody in this house has red hair. Blonde hair. And I said, so where did the hair come from? He said, I don't know. So put the meter closed. They lit the meter up. Opened the shower door, put the meter in there. It really went nuts. I said, okay. He says, now, this isn't really the problem. The problem's in the attic. I'm going like, how much more of this can I take, right? So we go up the steps, and he gets halfway up, and he says, I'm not going any further. I went, okay. Is there a light up here? And he hit the switch, and there was one light bulb. I get up, and I got my flashlight out, and I started flashing around. The first thing my flashlight hits is a coffin. I said, there's a coffin up here. He said, yeah. He said, we bought that at a sale. I said, is there anything in it? He said, I don't think so. Well, this
I don't
kid
think
ain't gonna open
so. I don't think so. How do you not know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to open it. Then I said, and there must have been 4 or 5 pretty good sized boxes, like legal boxes, that you keep in an office, filled with jars of dirt. And I'm going like, so what's with the jars of dirt? He said, well, we get those off fresh graves. And I said, why? He said, well, a lot of this stuff that we buy, we take up to New York and we sell, because the occult and stuff up in New York City is big time. And I went like, oh, okay. He said, do you see the circle in the middle of the floor? And I'm looking around. I finally see this circle. And I said, yeah, I see it. And I said, it's right in front of that funny-looking little cabinet you got there. He said, oh, well, that was a cabinet that kept embalming fluid in. I'm like, oh, Christ. So he goes through all that, and I'm talking to him. Now I'm facing him. He's in the middle of the stairway. I'm at the top of the steps. And the lights started to flicker. And I said, looks like you're going to need a new bulb soon. He said, no. He said, the circle moved. And I said, what? And I turned around. The circle did move. It went from the center of the room to the left of the room. Now, at this point, I'm ready to go out the window, down the steps, knock him over, and go right through the wall. It doesn't matter. I got to get out of there. So we go back downstairs, and he said, he shows me some pictures that he's taken. And alien-looking, maybe, would be the best way to describe the photos. Had a sofa in the living room. One of them was next to a stairway and a picture of the Inquisition. And there was another one over by a dining room table, which they don't eat at anymore. They eat in the kitchen off a countertop, because the table, when you sit at it, the table starts to move on its own. He said, do you want to sit down? I said, no, I'm good. So I told him, I said, look, when did all this start? He said, when we brought that voodoo mask home. And he said, we bought that at a sale down in South Jersey. I said, get rid of it. And I told him right out, I said, look, I'm no expert of the occult, but I know one thing. The believers in voodoo do believe, for real. And he said, yeah, he says, that's why we put it out in the car. Then his wife walks in, and the first thing I noticed about her is a very pretty girl, but she has black hair. I said, that's your natural color hair? She said, yeah. She said, you talking about the stuff in the sink? I said, yeah. Where'd that come from? She said, I don't know. I went in there one day, and the sink was full of it. I went like, okay. And then I noticed that she has a tattoo across her forehead of the Eye of Horus. She proceeds to tell me that her mother was a witch. She was Catholic. She had, when her mother died, gave her all kind of books on witchery and different spells and stuff like that. And she said the books used to talk to her, so she took them to the Catholic Church and had them dispose of them, burn them. They've had Catholic priests at the house a number of times, blessing the house. That didn't work. He's a student of Kabbalah. She's pretty much into demon worshiping and stuff like that. So I told him, I said, contact me when you can. About a week or two went by, and he sent me some pictures. He was in the kitchen. He said, I just had this feeling that somebody was looking at me from the back. And he said, I turned around. There were these two images, or two, not images, but two entities looking at him from the doorway. Now, there's two doorways in the kitchen. There's one on the side that comes in from the dining room, and there's another one that comes in from the living room. And these are from the living room. Now, there's a child-proof gate up there because they don't allow the kid to go into that room. And it was the first time I ever saw a house that had trail cams set up in every room. So he said, I turned around, I saw him. He said, so I snapped a picture, and I didn't get anything. So he said, I don't know why I did it, but something told me to do it. And he said, I went into the back bathroom, and there's a dressing mirror back there on a stand. He said, I brought that out and put it where I was standing, and I could see them in the mirror. And I took a picture, and here they are. And they're there. And I had a friend of mine who has a photo studio to see if they were doctored. He said, no way. One's a little taller than the other one. They're kind of alien-looking in shape and form. Except for the eyes. The eyes were real small and beady. And So I told him, I said, you know, you have my number, you know where I live, you need anything, give me a call. If you find anything out or anything else happens, give me a call. I didn't hear from him for a long time, and then I got a hold of his wife, and I said, could I speak to him? And she said, well, he self-committed himself, so that's where I dropped it right there. I didn't want to get involved in that.
No kidding.
It was the strangest thing I've ever went through.
How do you walk away from something like that? Is it just you have to force yourself? Because those people that you were describing, they don't sound like they're paying attention. They want answers, but they keep doing the same thing in circles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's pretty much the way it was. I mean, he would show me things or tell me things, and he had the proof right in his hand. I mean, you know, he was showing me a photograph where he was showing me scratches that were made on a wall, on a ceiling that, you know, and he wasn't a very tall guy, so I didn't see any ladders or anything around the house. And he said they just showed up one day and got pictures of them. They kind of looked like, you know, kind of half-assed Egyptian hieroglyphics. And it's just so many different things in the house, in every room.
Did they want it to go away, Butch, really? Because by the way...
Yes.
Okay, so it didn't seem like they were doing too much about it if they wanted it to go away.
Yeah, I really believe that they wanted somebody to agree with them on what was happening and what they were seeing, what they were feeling. Now that circle moving up, it was just it would be like if you took some kind of a template, maybe 3 feet circle, and you spray painted the inside of that circle, just a ring around. And I didn't get real close to it. I didn't, you know, I just didn't do that. I just thought better not to. And then when the light was going on, kind of flickering like it was going to die, and he said, I said to him, I said, you're going to need a new bulb soon. And he went like, no. He said the circle moved. And I went like, what? I turned around. The circle did move from the center of the room to about 3 foot to the left. That's when I left. But I know they were aware of the things that were happening, but their lifestyle was so strange and bizarre that it was very hard for me to understand whether they wanted to live like that or they just wanted somebody to verify what was happening. And now he's been committed. It's been over 2 years. He's been committed mental institution. So I don't want to get involved with that. But it was just extremely weird. And you just felt, like I said, when I walked over the threshold to go through the door, I felt bad. It just was weird. I have all the pictures saved, and every now and then I look at them, and even when I look at them, I feel weird. And but then again, I'm not a paranormal expert, so I couldn't tell you. But I mean, some of the stuff that he showed and produced, plus all that stuff that he put out on the table and counter that night for me to take pictures of. I mean, who would have that stuff in their house? I mean, something has to be wrong with you, or you're really practicing some really black stuff.
Terrible.
That was the weirdest.
Yeah, I easy way to end it. That was the weirdest, you know. And we don't know happening, but we do know that somebody got committed for it. That's nice.
Yeah.
That is nice. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on because we are 2 hours down, 1 hour to go here on Spaced Out Radio. And we have Butch Witkowski for another 30 minutes here on Strange Days, as Butch's website is uforcop.com. Then at the bottom of the third hour, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine and the Thought of the Dave as well. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. All right, Butcher, I'm going to just run my my dogs outside, okay? Be right back.
Okay, boss.
All right.
I'm going to hit the can.
All right, you do that. Be right back, people.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chide and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is...
What's going on in the supernatural world? You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother.
Bob.
All right. Oh, why am I buffering on YouTube?
Why are you what?
Buffering on YouTube. I don't know why, but apparently I am. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski from Strange Days here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch comes in the final week of every month to break down everything that is strange, weird, odd, and cryptid and monstrous. And once again, his website is uforcop.com. Butch, thank you so much for joining us again. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, you're quite welcome, sir, and I appreciate being on.
Oh, we love you around here. We love you around here. Now, Butch, when we look at monsters and cryptids, okay, I know you deal a lot with the bipedal canines, and we haven't really talked about that tonight. However, when you are dealing with cryptids, what do you look for in a report that you say, hey, we may have something here. We got to get out there and investigate it?
Location probably is the first thing that hits me because every report we've ever gotten, the bipedals are within the state game lands or federal parks or state parks. I think that's the first thing that tells me that, and then when I start reading the report where it says that the creature was watching somebody or stepped out onto a group or, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't. We only had one case where things got a little ugly. 3 couples all lived together in basically the same block or two, right down from the state park, walking path. Every now and then go for a walk with the 6 people, and they rounded this little corner or bend on the trail, and this thing just stepped out of the woods and just stepped out into the open. And the one lady lost it. I mean, she started screaming and carrying on, and it advanced. That's the first time that's ever happened, where it advanced a couple steps toward them, and it was growling. And then they all turned and beat it. And but that was the only time we had any action against an individual or individuals by these things. And it's always been the location, and the second thing that was always an eye opener as far as the case the report could be valid, is the description of the creature, and where, besides location, the description and the mannerisms, and the thoughts that the few cases we had where people actually had guns, and one was a park ranger, and they could have pretty much stopped anything with the weapons they were carrying, and they all had the same thought. Even though they were thinking of pulling the trigger or taking a shot, they all had this thought come into their head, don't do it, or things are going to get really bad really quick. And, it just got to the point where people who were carrying a high-powered rifle just, put the gun down and walked away, or waited till it walked away, and then they walked away. But it's just... And it never takes its eyes off people. Everybody said the same thing. That was another thing, that it almost fixes on you. And no matter what you do, it follows you until you're out of sight. One guy was driving away in his truck, and he said he was looking in the mirror, and it was still looking at him. And then, he said he got further away, then he couldn't see it anymore. But they're very strange, and they've been around for a long time. That's the thing that really killed me when I found a report in a newspaper. I've mentioned this before on the show. Back from it was 1868. A farmer ran into a deal where he took a shot at it, and he goes back to the town and gets a hold of the constable, because they didn't have police departments back then, and tells the constable, what happened, and he gives a description. And I can take that description and put it right next to one I got, a month ago. So first thing in my mind is, what the hell am I dealing with here? A lot of the sightings and reports come from places where there were Indian burial grounds, Indian encampments. And the one place where we had our first 2 reports, they still hold power.
Okay, and I know you're saying between 7 and 10 feet tall. Have any juveniles ever been recorded with prints or with?
October, November, and I think we had 1 or 2 in the wintertime, but it's like fall.
Why do you think they only come out in fall?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it could be, our forests here are very dark, very deep, very thick. And, in that time of the year, most of the leaves are down, or they're coming down, and you can see greater distances. Maybe, where they're at the time and their connection with humans. There's not a lot of people hiking out in the summertime. It's just too hot. But when the weather's cooled down or starting to cool down, and I don't mean cold, but just cool. I mean, people are out more walking. We have hunting season. A lot of the hiking trails are very busy. So just maybe the attraction of humans being in the area brings them out. But that's just something that's pure speculation on my part.
Is there a certain type of temperature, or maybe a wild berry or a wild plant, or maybe game movement that is really moving these creatures in?
I guess all of the above you can say yes to, but I mean, they've been seen eating roadkill, along a major highway. So then again, when you say that, then people say, well, they can't be spiritual or a shapeshifter if they are eating roadkill. If they have to eat, then they have to drink, of course. But to hide, I mean, there's so many places in this state. I mean, we have abandoned towns all over the Northeast. We have abandoned railroad stations all over the Northeast that run right through pretty much almost all of our upstate game lands. There's an old nuclear plant. There's cabins. There's old manufacturing buildings from back in the turn of the century that are out in the woods now. I mean, there's just so many places they could be, and it's hard to target an area. Right now I'm looking at caves that are close to or really close to areas where we had sightings, and that'll be the next adventure out as soon as this heat breaks a little bit. But if they are, I don't want to say interdimensional, but if they have to eat, that means they're flesh and blood in my mind. But who am I to say that even if they are flesh and blood, that they can't go between dimensions or just be really super good at hide and seek? So it's going to be hit and miss. But like I said, my only shot at this is, with all the equipment that we have, is to get this thing on thermal imaging, that we can at least have a thermal image of what it is. Even if we can't get a picture, at least we can get thermal image. But it's tough. It's when you're talking about, well, the one park that's near me where I live right now, where I'm living now at this new house, I mean, it's 6,000 acres. So where do I start? I mean, that's always the biggest problem. Like, where do you start? I can go to the location where it was seen, but that doesn't mean it's, there. Best I can do when I get to a scene like that is, look for some type of evidence or something. We've set up camera traps, so we've tried all that stuff, and it's just going to be luck, and I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'll either bump into one by mistake, or one of the cameras will capture something, hopefully.
Do you think that these creatures have the ability to be found on trail cams? Because there's a lot of speculation as to whether or not Bigfoot or any of these strange creatures can manipulate the photography on it.
Well, the cameras I use are security cameras. They look like a trail cam, but they're actually security cameras that you can put outdoors. Like, say, if you had a ranch and you were going to watch your cattle, you'd put one on each side of the field, for rustlers. But they're thermal imaging. They're not black and white or color or photograph. They take a thermal image. I can set it from 1 to 5 seconds, so I can have it take a shot every 1 second or every 5 seconds, and anything in between. That's up to me. I can set that camera to do that. The batteries are good for 60 days. Everything records on an SD card, so we'll see. It's the best I can do. I sure as hell ain't going to walk around with a pork chop,
Come on.
stomping through the woods.
Come on. Put that pork chop.
6,000 square acres.
Put the pork chop on.
If I get a pork chop out of the woods, I'm cooking it.
Oh, I want to see you walk around in your camouflage clothing and a belt full of pork chops. I do want to see that.
I could never understand why people wear camouflage clothing when they're out looking for something or they're doing an investigation. Because there's some jerk out there that's going to take a shot at you eventually.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same thing as the funny story of when they were filming the original Star Wars. I believe it was The Empire Strikes Back, when they were filming in the forests of Washington State. They told the gentleman who was playing Chewbacca not to go wandering in his costume in the forest for fear that a hunter would think he's Sasquatch and try and kill him or shoot him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's rumor or hearsay or if it's true, but if it's true, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Poor Chewie.
Right? Could you imagine all of a sudden Chewbacca gets shot during the filming?
That would really suck.
It totally would.
Not good.
No, not good at all. Not good at all. But it is what it is. Butch, we got 6.5 minutes here left with you tonight. Another wild show that's blowing on by here. And, as we creep closer to bipedal canine season that you're going to be hunting for, what... And thank you to Captain Shirk for confirming the Chewbacca thing for me. What do you do to prepare for this? Both technically, physically, mapping-wise? How do you prepare?
Well, first, mapping is the very first thing. We got a couple friends at our DCNR rangers that have gotten us some really great maps, topographical maps. First thing is mapping, marking the location, and I always start out with a 20-mile circle around that location, and then I'll see what I have in that location. Do I have any old business, old factories that shut down, or old train stations that are closed, or way stations that are closed, caves, water, of course, game lands, do they border game lands, or game lands run right through it? So the most of it at the very beginning is mapping. And then background research, of course, to see if there's any other reports of anything strange in that particular area. And then I'll do another circle. I'll go out to 30 miles, and that's pretty much where I'll stay. And then I'll look for a spot that is close to the actual report where I can, set up camp. And physically wise, no, we don't do anything that way. I mean, the truck is well equipped with everything we need in it, from emergency equipment to sleeping, food, heat, water. I mean, everything's in there. So it's really just a go over of the unit, and the big truck, if we're going to go away. If it's something that's close by, I'll take the safety equipment, because caves are caves, and you could be walking along and, fall in another hole. It's forever. So safety harnesses and stuff like that, that's what we added to the big truck. But it's pretty much common sense preparation, nothing out of the ordinary. Radios, make sure radios, cameras, everything's all charged up, ready to go. And that's about it. Just get in the truck and go.
Now, with your truck, your battle truck, which literally is I believe it's even armor piercing. I don't know. Just in case, Dogman decides to pull out a 357 Magnum or something like that. But with your tracking truck, and I'm sure you have some very intensive gear in there that can be used when it comes to, I guess what I'm saying, Butch, when it comes to this type of investigation, technology aside, do you still have to go on human instinct rather than using the technology that you have and you own and that you've accumulated to get the job done?
Yes. Yeah. One of the things, I guess, that I get asked the most is, when we do set up, how long can we stay there? A day or 2, 3. The truck's set up to stay there 7 days. So we have canopies, we have tents, sleeping bags, foodstuffs, heat, first aid, trauma kits, weapons. Everything we need. Computers, satellite communication, satellite phone in case we're someplace where our phones won't work. Everything's been taken. Even though some of the stuff has never even been used. I never had to use a satellite phone. But that doesn't say I wouldn't need one day. So it's there. Our hookup with the satellite and the computers, I can, if I run into something where I need more boots on the ground, I can send an email from the truck. I don't even have to use a phone. I can send it from the truck to whatever closest researchers I have in that particular area and see if I can get some boots on the ground. So really the planning is simple. It's just the fact that you got to put it in your head that when you get out there, it's not the time to remember that spare set of keys you used to keep in your pocket is laying on your desk and you just locked your truck with the keys in it. So, stupid little things like that. Or, those empty water bottles that were in the cooler are still empty. And it's happened. But we keep after the stuff. I don't leave the cameras in the truck like in this heat. So they're actually in the library on a shelf. But it's pretty simple. It's just common sense, really. Just to make sure that when you get there, you got what you need.
And that's what it all comes down to is common sense. Butch, I want to say thank you so much for coming back on Spaced Out Radio. We will talk to you in 1 month from now, my friend.
Yes, sir, on August 31st.
Yeah, hard to believe we're already there, man. Already heading into the final month of the summer in just a couple of days here. And another edition of Butch Witkowski's Strange Days has come and gone. Butch, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. His website, uforcop.com. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. Butch, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that.
Where'd I wind up? What's my score?
You wound up with 183. Setting a new world record for Spaced Out Radio.
All right, brother.
We'll
talk.
Absolutely. Take care.
Stay good.
You too. Bye-bye. I love Butch. Love me some Butchie time. Hey guys, sorry about the buffering. I think what it is YouTube has been going through some buffering issues. Jeff, the Desert Clam, sent me some information on that show that YouTube really hasn't been cooperating properly lately, especially in the last 24 hours. So I think that might have something to do with the live feed. I'm not sure. I am, checking to figure out whether or not it's OBS or whether it is YouTube. I'll look into that a little bit more tomorrow because I can't really look into it during the show. But I do apologize for the technical snafus here on YouTube. I mean, I know you guys were having a real good time checking Butch out and everything that he has to say because he's absolutely brilliant that way. But I apologize for that. I don't know what to do. I don't. So I will try and figure it out as I normally do. All right. And that's all I got. Hey, Dance, how are you? Thank you for coming on in. I got to get the news ready here. All right. Let's see here. What do I want here? Let's do that one. Hi, Leah. How are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right, we got just under 2 minutes here. All is well. All is well. All right. Let's get ready to do this thing, shall we?
Think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know
Red Deer is watching. Love ya. Thank you so much for coming in. I've actually been to Red Deer. It's been a number of years, but I've been there. All right, here we go. Let's have some fun. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for tuning us in. My name is Dave Scott, host of this great, wonderful show. As we want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. And you know what that means? We can also get you to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. Oh, here it comes. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the completely awesome. Dayton, Ohio man recently penned a first-person essay for Dayton.com explaining how he was motivated to lose almost half of his body weight in order to ride a new roller coaster coming to his local amusement park. Yeah, apparently this guy's pretty big. He's 6'9", was weighing in at over 400 pounds at his heaviest. Unfortunately, his size has often come in between him and his biggest passion in life, riding roller coasters. So the gentleman named Reem said, as a big and or tall roller coaster enthusiast will tell you, nothing is worse than a roller coaster walk of shame. That's the moment when you are asked to get off the roller coaster because the restraint cannot properly close around you because of your size. It's painful, and I know all too well how this feels. Oh, you got to feel for the guy just on that note. Despite his love for roller coasters, he describes his mind as an encyclopedia of theme parks and coaster knowledge, and is a card-carrying member of the American Coaster Enthusiasts. Reem gave up riding them after he took a disc job, and his weight skyrocketed due to snacking and lack of physical activity. When I was at my weight was over 300 pounds, I knew there was no way I could fit into coasters anymore, he wrote. My self-esteem dropped, and I stopped weighing myself because it just became too depressing. I stopped going to parks because I knew there was no point. Within the last 10 years, some truly amazing roller coasters have been built, and I missed out on most of them. At that point, he had ridden on 295 coasters and had to give up his goal of reaching 300. But in August of 2019, everything changed when he got word that Kings Island, the theme park he grew up visiting with his family, would be getting a new addition. Orion, a 300-foot-tall giga coaster created by Reem's favorite coaster manufacturer, B&M. This was it. This was the motivation I needed, he wrote. I had always made a promise to myself that if Kings Island ever built a B&M Giga, that I would have to ride it no matter what it took me to do so. I decided the day of the announcement that I would lose all the weight and ride it on opening day. And he did. On the day of the announcement, he bought a scale. He weighed in at 430 pounds. Through exercising in his garage, restricting his diet, and practicing intermittent fasting and getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep per day, he lost 190 pounds over the course of 321 days, and he was invited to attend the Orion Media event on July 1st, the day before the opening of the park, and he weighed in and walked in at 240 pounds. As we slowly walked towards the back of the park, I just kept thinking about how lucky I was to be there, Reems remembers. Not only was all the hard work worth it for my health, but I was also finally getting to experience my passion again, something I hadn't been able to do in many years. After confirming he was the right size to ride the coaster by strapping himself into one of the test seats, Reem got in line for Orion, then rode his 300th roller coaster. That is awesome. I love this story, man. I love this story. You know, he goes, you couldn't see it but because of my mask, but I had the biggest smile on my face. I was so happy and excited that I forgot to look around and enjoy the view. We were already at the top and began to drop down. That amazing first drop. The rest flew by. Since I was alone in my social distance row, I just let my arms and legs fly wherever the coaster took them to go. How awesome is that, people? How awesome is that? Sad news from the hockey world, as in Toronto, one of the most flamboyant hockey players ever has passed away. Eddie Shack was 83 years old. The Toronto Maple Leafs announced it on their website this past weekend. Eddie entertained Leafs fans on the ice for 9 seasons and for decades off of it. He will be greatly missed, the team said in a tweet. Our thoughts are with his family. Known for his bruising style, distinctive skating gait, and larger-than-life personality, Shack won 4 Stanley Cups with Toronto in the 60s, including the franchise's very last 1967. Holy cow, that's 53 years ago, Leafs fans. You would think there was a curse or something. Maybe it's there's something. Nicknamed the Entertainer, with his trademark cowboy hat and gorgeous mustache, he scored the winning goal for the Leafs in the 1963 final. The native of Sudbury, Ontario, played parts of 17 seasons. From 1958 to 1975, he was a legend across Canada. Former Maple Leafs captain Doug Gilmour, who played with the team in the 90s, said in a tweet that it was a sad loss, but also happy to have known him. Eddie Shack taught me two important things, Gilmour said. See humor in just about everything and live like a champion. Well, he had 4 rings he could live. How many? Oh, I forgot, 1967. Anyways, in October 2016, Shaq was listed as the number 68 on the 100 list of the 100 greatest Leafs ever to play. Now, on a personal note, back in 1992, I got a great picture with 2 of my buddies. On my left, Gordie Howe, and on my right, Eddie Shack. That was an honor, having those 2 guys right there in one photo. I love that photo. Love it. And I had good hair back then, too. It was dark in color, not gray. So, sad day for hockey. Eddie was amazing. Chinese students in Australia are being targeted in fake kidnapping phone scams, extorting families out of millions of dollars in ransoms. Police in New South Wales said that this year already there have been at least 8 reported cases of so-called virtual kidnappings, and the Australian Federal Police said in May that they were investigating at least 25 cases of kidnapping extortion scams targeting Chinese students across the country. These scams tend to unfold in much the same way. A fraudulent caller, usually pretending to represent a Chinese government authority, convinces the victim they face legal action in China, as well as arrest and deportation. The victim is then persuaded to transfer money to offshore bank accounts or even fake their own kidnapping, sending photo evidence to their family in China, who are duped into paying ransoms for the victim's safety. The victims, predominantly Chinese students, have been coerced to cutting off phone and social media contacts, vacating their accommodation, and sending mocked-up photos of them tied up alongside messages to their families pleading for ransom. So far this year, fraudsters involved in the scam have obtained 3.2 million Australian dollars in ransom payments, many of them ranging between $20,000 and $500,000. One family sent $2 million for the release of their daughter. The victims of virtual kidnappings we have engaged are traumatized by what has occurred, believe they have been placed themselves and their loved ones in real danger, says NSW Police Assistant Commissioner Peter Thurtle. In these instances, it is often friends and family that encourage victims to come forward and report the crime to police, as victims feel embarrassed or ashamed by what has transpired. The police chief said virtual kidnappings of this nature have become more prolific in the last decade. While these phone calls appear to be random in nature, these scammers seem to be targeting vulnerable members of the Chinese-Australian community. It's just not going over very well. In Sydney, that no person claiming to be from a Chinese authority, such as police or procuratoriates, for prosecution and or courts will contact, and hotels, everything. So childhood board games lasted neither hours nor days, but a month at a time, she said on a recent afternoon at her home in Virginia. Today, Brennan has collected a collection of Monopoly boards, including a Beatles version. Her favorite song, or favorite, is the vintage 1970s edition. That in mind, it seems perfectly natural for the Biwabek native to have a giant Monopoly board painted on her driveway. It's a virtual copycat of a colorful 70s board. The existing crease down the center of the driveway mimics the board when it would fold in half. Brennan says its main creator took time to do this because she wanted to make sure it was accurate. and that the property lines drawn on the board were of good size. The game has everything needed to play, from big laminated paper money to appropriately sized token pieces, a red top hat, toy wheelbarrow, child's rain boot, an iron. Yes, she cut off the electrical cord. Brennan has also a pair of large wooden dice, along with birdhouses she snagged for a good price and spray painted red and green to represent the game's houses and hotels. The board has generated quite a lot of favorable attention from neighbors and passers-by. She gets mostly the question, but why? Her reply? Why not? The 17 by 17 foot Monopoly board, however, probably would not exist if it wasn't for the COVID-19 pandemic, because Brennan's 22-year-old daughter, Samantha, who lives and works down in the Twin Cities, was up visiting in June when indoor seating was not yet allowed in Minnesota's dining establishments. We couldn't go out for lunch. Brianna's daughter has Asperger's syndrome and is extremely artistic, a common characteristic of the condition. Brennan said, the duo was looking forward to a creative endeavor, something to do at home. So why not build a Monopoly board? Anyhow, this is what they did. And she left her daughter on her own, thinking this was just going to be a little bit of a joke. Came home, driveways painted white rather than with chalk. She set up 15 cans of paint, got to work, and designed much of the board on her own. How fun is that? I love it. A St. Bernard, a breed of dog famous for conducting mountain rescues, was the subject of a rescue when the canine collapsed on England's highest mountain. The Wasdale Mountain Rescue Team says the owners of the dog named Daisy contacted rescuers to report the St. Bernard had collapsed and appeared to be experiencing pain in her hind legs while descending Scuffle Pike in northwest England. The team said it took 16 members about 5 hours to successfully bring Daisy back to where her owners could transport her in a vehicle. Daisy's owners were able to keep her well hydrated and fed until the team members were able to get on the scene with a stretcher to help get them moving again quickly as weather was due to deteriorate. The team carried the 121-pound dog, who the Post had said had a hard start in life before being rescued by her owners just a few months ago, down the mountain on a stretcher. Daisy was back to her usual high spirits after a good night's sleep, the rescue team said. She apparently feels a bit guilty and slightly embarrassed about letting down the image of her cousins bouncing across the alpine snows with barrels of brandy around their necks, as she should. As she should. Terrible dog. How do you do that? No, I'm so happy the dog is alive. Really happy. A loose kangaroo was captured by veterinarians more than 2 months ago after it escaped from a zoo on a Norwegian island. Veterinarian Tori Hausken said the kangaroo was shot with a tranquilizer dart and transported to the Hogland Zoo, where the marsupial had escaped from its enclosure in May. Bernd Kai Veld, owner of the Hogland Zoo, confirmed the kangaroo has returned to the facility but declined to comment. The kangaroo, by the way, had no statement to be made and had been spotted numerous times during its 2 months on the loose, including a sighting by a local elementary school class that had just finished studying a unit about Australia. All right, we're getting closer. We are getting closer. Oh, this will make you cry. An overturned tractor trailer created an unusual traffic hazard when it spilled beer all over the New Jersey side of the Ben Franklin Bridge. Police said the tractor trailer driver lost control about 6 a.m. on Route 676 just across the Ben Franklin Bridge from Pennsylvania and landed on its side. Officials said the truck was carrying a load of beer, which spilled across the roadway. Crews were on the scene to clean up the mess. The driver of the truck was treated for minor injuries. There was said to be major NFL, MLB, NHL, and NBA fans who were seen crying at the side of the road that all the beer had been lost to this horrific accident. And finally, shirky poo. This comes down in the dumb category. All right. Let the king die in peace. He died 40 some years ago. Let him be. A Norwegian Elvis Presley impersonator broke a Guinness World Record by performing the famed singer's catalog for 50 hours, 50 minutes, and 50 seconds. Kjell Henning Bjornstad, a.k.a. Kjell Elvis, started performing Thursday at a bar in Oslo, continued to sing until he reached his goal of 50 hours, 50 minutes, and 50 seconds Saturday. Bjornstad had previously broken the record for the longest Elvis singing marathon in 2003, but his record was broken the next year by German singer Thomas Curtis Gathje, who recorded 43 hours, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds, stood until being challenged by Bjornstad this month. The singer, who was left hoarse following his successful Guinness World Record attempt, said it was the last time he will attempt a singing marathon. Good. Just let it die, just like the king. Just let it die. Thanks for the clown, Marty. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Was Senator Harry Reid misquoted in the New York Times UFO article, or did he say something he shouldn't have? Let's start off with one of our favorite veterans around here, Marty. Harry Reid was a senator from my state of Nevada, and I believe he said exactly what he meant to say, and that it was part of a plan for gradual disclosure. Reid is old and in poor health. He has no reason to care anymore about repercussions. Chip, science is real, aliens are not. Oh, such a negative attitude, Chip. Jason, it's just part of the tease and walk back game they do every time. Didn't it take the Pentagon like 2.5 years after December 2017 article came out to admit they released the video and that Elizondo worked on a tip? Very true. Very true. Rodrigo provides an interesting quote from back in time in the UFO world. It was Chris Mellon who said, Bob Bigelow recently said on a national television show, 60 Minutes, that he absolutely believes that not only alien life exists, but that aliens are here, that aliens are visiting Earth. You share that view? Mr. Reid replied, I feel it would be from a congressional standpoint. It would affect my credibility if I started talking about everything that I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Harry knows. Harry knows. Why not give it up? When you're that fragile of a state as a human, okay, why not give it up? What are they going to do? Kill you? You're right there. You've already got a foot in the grave. Come on. Don't get it. Nicole, I think there is way more on the way that will clear this up. Gail, I believe he said it and subsequently realized he had said too much and needed to change the wording. Blumenthal and Kane are way too smart and professional to have changed his wording. I agree, Gail. 100% I agree. Wayne, I believe he said something he shouldn't have. Don, he's a proud liar. I wouldn't believe anything he says. Jay, he said something he shouldn't have said. He went a step further than the gatekeepers wanted him to go. Alex, neither and both. And I am basing this partly of a discussion I had with Grant Cameron when the Reid thing first started coming out. It still rings true to me. Reid isn't the guy that knows it all, but he is in a position to maybe have heard some things. The people orchestrating all know this, obviously, and they have carefully left themselves a way out if needed. Back to Reid, the recovery of alien craft or any UFOs is a natural direction and the end point to all this, and it is an inevitable destination, and Reid knows this. I think while he doesn't know specifics, he was just speaking about what he knows to be true from a logistical standpoint, but not from a personal knowledge standpoint. Davey, he said it, he meant it. Chris, so far it looks like Corton got to him. Whoever Corton is. Let's get to Jeremy. I'm still baffled at the notion that they're going to start releasing information. Penman, I think the MIB used their little flashy things on him. Daryl gets the final word tonight. This is a question for the Magic 8 Ball. Well, we just happen to have a Magic 8 Ball right here. Thank you for the suggestion, Daryl. Did Harry Reid lie about this? Let's find out what the Magic 8 Ball says before we have to get going here. It is decidedly so. And that's where we're going with it. Thank you to the Magic 8 Ball for that big-time answer. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave, and to Captain Shirk for getting us ready for the SOR Newswire, as we do that every single night on this show, and we love Captain Shirk for it. And a big thanks to Butch Witkowski and Strange Days for tuning us in once again. We'll talk to Butch next month. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms, chatting away on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club at our website, and of course, all the snarkers and snarkettes pitter-puttering around at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for putting up with me and sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. The Woo Train has docked for the night, but tomorrow we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, guess what? We got room for them too. Good night. It's a good show, everybody. Solid show. You know, Shirk's putting those Guinness World Record ones on there on purpose because she knows I can't stand them. She knows that. That's why we call her Shirky Poo around here. Because Shirky Poo thinks she can do whatever she wants. Wherever she wants. And I can tell you this. Old Shirky Poo there is doing that to piss me off. Because she knows I don't like it. Oh, but she gets a little bitty type of laugh out of that. Can you just hear? Probably shaking her fist too. Oh yeah, I know what you're up to, Shirky Poo. I know exactly what you're up to. Oh yeah. All right, let's refresh that. Thank you, everyone. Hey, PBR, how you doing, buddy? All right, we're just downloading the show here. I'm going to quickly run out for a quick break. I'll be right back, everyone, and then we'll get the editing done and have some fun. Be right back. All right. We are downloaded, which is cool. And, hey, PBR, did you want me to respond to your question or here, or did you want me to do it on Twitter? Let me know. I recorded in an MP3. How the hell did that happen? Oh, that's cool. That's going to save me a bunch of time. Friggin' A. Well, hopefully that continues for the next time, too. All right, so let's go. Okay, so I can totally do that. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm just trying to get everything set up here. All right, there's that. And there's this. Let's move that over here. And then we'll move these up here. And that there, that there, that there, that there. That there, that there, and that down there. Okay. Almost done, PBR. Because I think it's a solid question. And one that needs some clarification and answering. And I think it's a very, very astute question because there's a lot of opinions on this. Hey, Lufon, how you doing? Okay. So this is in regards to a comment, I guess, was made by Jimmy Church tonight about the New York Times article. And I haven't heard it. I'm only going by what PBR, our listener, stated on Twitter, that paraphrasing Jimmy, that it was bad journalism that was of Harry Reid retracting his denial of clarification before the article the next day. Okay, because as you all know, Harry Reid, for fuck's sakes. I'll just wait. All right. Wait for this damn thing to smarten up. That's right. While we're waiting, I got some stuff I need to do. Anyways, so we can wait. All right, seems like we're back. All right. So there's a lot of people who are criticizing the New York Times, especially Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal, the former Pulitzer Prize winner, which is the highest award you can win in journalism. In regards to reporting and high quality journalism. And anyways, I guess, there's a lot of people who are being very critical of what has gone on. And I guess, according to PBR, who is listening to Jimmy Church, who is a fantastic and well-respected broadcaster in this field. I don't know the guy. I've never talked to him, anything like that. Anyways, Jimmy basically said it was bad journalism on that front. And you know what? There's a lot of people who have that point. I'm going to respectfully disagree with that for a couple of reasons. Okay. Reason number one is because of when you go into an interview like that, okay, and you are interviewing, doesn't matter whether you're interviewing somebody at a crime scene or like an eyewitness to a car accident, or whether you are interviewing a politician or anything, tape is always rolling. And what I mean by that is you're not doing it the old school way of just taking notes and paraphrasing what people say. Okay, you're not doing that. These are seasoned professional reporters who have a lot of credibility in the field. Leslie as a freelance, and Ralph as being a Pulitzer Prize winner. Okay. And they go and they will record the audio. And what happens there is when they record the audio, there are, and they go and put it in the story, they are going to translate or transmit everything that is said on that audio. Now, if they did or asked the question over email, which I highly doubt they did, what they're going to do is they're going to cut and paste the quote that Reed typed out himself. Okay. Now, I don't see in an interview like this, I do not see them asking 5 or 6 questions over email and taking the rest of them and just cutting and pasting that into the story. I don't see that at all. What I see this being is a phone conversation that was recorded with a digital voice recorder, and that's how they got the quote. Now, personally, I talked to another couple reporters this weekend regarding that, and we all came to the same conclusion, that that's what went down. And the unfortunate part about it, and I don't know how many of you heard me speak on MUFON radio on Saturday night when Richie did his show and was asking me about it. Okay. So I'll say the exact same things that I said on his show to you guys. Okay. There's 2 ways this went down. Okay. 2 ways. Okay. I don't believe for a second that Reed was misquoted. I 100% believe he said what he said. Okay. Okay, so Philip, you bring up a good point. New York Times said Iraq had weapons of mass destruction when they knew better. Okay, but you can't say that. That is a wrong thing to say. Okay, the reporters, the New York Times has probably a couple hundred reporters. Okay, you can throw the label on it, but who is the reporter who got that? That is where you have to go through. Okay, I'm not giving you shit. I'm just explaining how it works. Okay, so in this case with Blumenthal and Reed, okay, or Keene and Reed, whoever interviewed Reed, maybe they both did. Okay, The fact is, they would have recorded that and played it and typed it out verbatim. All right. It's too important of a quote. Oh, of course, Harry Reid's going to deny it. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion. Okay. This is just my opinion. I think what happened was Harry probably, when he read the report, okay, because he may have been given a copy beforehand. Okay. A lot of times publications will do that. If it's a major story, they'll release the story beforehand. Okay. So he either didn't like what he said and wanted to change it because he said too much, or here's the other possibility. When reporters, especially for newspapers, are given a story, they are told how many words that they can write. And Dave is not reaching, PBR. Dave is not reaching. This is fact. Okay? This is fact. All right? So let's say the column is allowed 3,000 words. And let's say after Blumenthal and Keene write the article, okay? After Blumenthal and Keene write the article, they write 27, or let's see, what did I say, 3,000 words. Okay, let's say it's 3,000 words and they write 3,200. The editors of the newspaper will read it over and they will edit the story. Okay, they will edit the story to cut it down any way, shape, or form, so that way it could fit in the 3,000 word area that they have saved for that article. Okay, so what happens then is this is the second point that I'm trying to make here. Okay, what happens then is you may have had an editor who cut the quote and made it what it was. Okay? You asked for an explanation, PBR. You can't have your fucking cake and eat it too, buddy. Okay? I can shut up. It doesn't matter. I can shut up. I don't mind. But I'm just telling you that there's more to this than what's wrong. So if you don't want my explanation, don't ask for it. I'm not giving shit here, so I'm just saying, like, do you want me to speak on it or not? It was an example, the 3,000 words. Fuck. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. I just shut up now, because apparently those are already MP3s. Yeah, those are already. That is so cool. Wonder how that happened. Oh well. Saves me some time. There we go. All right, there we go. Yes, you can, Mark. Let's see if we can play this. Does she have anything on here? All right. Let's play this. See what this sounds like. Yep, 12:34. It's a friend of mine. good stuff. That was good stuff. I'm very impressed by that.